Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Toonkind at 12 FPS. I am Oatmeal, and I'll be playing the Professor, and also Tarry Mulligan and Jarah Shane Smythe. And with me is my lovely friend.
Hi, I'm Candlestick, and today I'm going to be playing Dr. Crystal Everlight. Something new, but uh, this should be fun. I'm excited to interact with these characters who I have very, very basic knowledge of at this point.
That's alright, I think most people do. um, they're not exactly super well known, especially around here. Um, So yeah, these are two of the professor's friends from Darth, not from the planet of Zatori, and he has kind of hinted at least that they're from very far away and have not ever seen Inkwell, to the chat. So Crystal knows at least that much.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna roll because she does know that the professor is not. Has she worked out that he's from space yet? I know she knows he's not from this world.
I don't know. She knows he can time travel. And she
Yeah,
knows he
yeah.
travels a bunch, and she knows he's not from like Zatori, but I don't know if she knows the difference between like him being from a different plane or being from a different planet, because either are plausible.
Yeah. She hasn't narrowed in on that information, I don't think, but she's figured out that he's not from the planet of Zatori.
Yeah.
She knows he can travel both in both directions
Correct.
and through time now as well, which adds a third unknown factor, but yeah. I think I rolled a 14 plus 5 intelligence, so I think she's probably put together the fact that these two are not from Zatori.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Yeah. Not from Zatori. And maybe while she may not be like certain where exactly the professor's from, she's probably leaning towards like what she knows of his biology and his nature, probably leaning towards material plane, just somewhere else.
yeah. It's easier, like the most basic guess basically.
Right. He doesn't seem especially like, like any of the four elements, or like fey-ish, or you know celestial, or hellish, or anything, fiendish, anything like that. There's no
Mm.
obvious like planar markers.
Yeah. That said, like there are more realms than that out there, but
For sure.
they're a little bit more they're less common to come across. Well, then again, in Inkwell, that's not necessarily true. So,
Yeah.
yeah, best not to assume.
No, it's a good guess, and she happens to be correct, but she's not 100%.
Yeah.
All right.
You think she would actually come out and ask him at some point,
they've
but
been
that would be impolite.
they've been
You can't just
busy.
ask someone where they're from.
I mean, you can. Crystal. Um, that's like the second question people ask when they're doing small talk. Um,
Yeah.
okay, but um, I think the professor does probably in like the day or so following their his friend's like initial sort of touchdown on Zatori, and their sort of first impressions with uh, a gaggle of several different friends.
I got over okay, this is real and this is not a hoax.
Yes, indeed. Jarah might have been a little quicker to pick it up, but Tarry did eventually. he was eventually convinced that this is not in fact a hallucination. Um,
Love that.
the food probably helped because they both went
That's
to
hard to fake.
the what?
I said that's hard to fake.
Oh, indeed, indeed. uh,
But keep going. They went to.
oh, yeah, they both went to the Painted Lady, and then Arata also cooked them some curry to take home.
Nice.
Yeah. So, the professor has probably sent um, Crystal a message, something to the effect of like, if you have a moment, I would like to take you up on your offer. Um,
Yeah.
he's like, while I understand like kind of how to understand these concepts to them specifically, um, I'm incapable of really demonstrating any of them.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think there was a bit of a all right, yeah, work out when works for
Mhm.
both of them because this isn't like an urgent need to drop everything
Mm-mm.
a request. It's more of a when you have free time, please
Uh,
help.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably been probably a couple of days.
Mm.
That sounds about. Crystal sounds like the sort to have like a packed schedule for a few days
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. She's made the trip to Villestown. Pretty regular one at this point. Maybe stopped in via Moria's agency on the way. Dropped in paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
said hello to people. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
She might have gone straight there. Let's see. Did she take any detours? Yes, she did. Apparently, she had a busy day. All right. Well, that's fun. Um, yeah. So, she probably arrives sometime in the afternoon, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. The ellipsis is, as was stated in chat and Professor probably reiterated, it's currently in the, it's currently like next to the Villestown teleportation station. Um, like not like in it, like in the middle of it, but like it's that's the closest walkable landmark.
Yeah, that makes it extra funny because that would have been
She
the
would
way
have
that Crystal got in.
exactly.
So,
she she arrived early so she could run some errands and then come back.
yeah, yeah, totally planned. God, it's funny. I rolled a 2 on the d20 for the
Oh.
ouch. So that's really funny.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, she arrives and I think she'll just like uh, yeah, she's polite. She'll knock on the door. Uh, I think there's a um, yeah, there's probably a excuse me, Miss Ellipsis, could you let the professor know that I'm here?
Mm-hmm. Um, there's a bit of a beat, and then uh, the the professor opens the door and beams at Crystal. Hello.
Good afternoon, Professor. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Thank you for coming by on relatively short notice.
I did offer. I'm
Indeed.
glad I could. I hope it wasn't too late.
Oh no,
It didn't seem that urgent.
no. No, if anything, this has given them a bit of a chance to sort of have it settle in their minds. Um, expose them a little bit more to it. Um, come in for a moment. I'm not sure where you would like to sort of do this. I could move us. Um, and he sort of calls down the hall like, uh, uh, Tarry, Jarah Shane, come on. Um, and these two real kind humans come out from the interior door. Um, uh, Tarry is a tall fella in a sort of like sharp, uh, like a a nice looking sort of double breasted like jacket. It's blue and Jarah has like her hair nicely done, and she's wearing a kind of stylish, but like at the same time, sort of retro feeling, like
Hmm.
I don't know, um, what would she be wearing today? I don't know, uh, something fun. Maybe some bell bottoms. That would be fun, and a nice top.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that I think that the retro style is probably less out of place here just
Mm-hmm.
because like there is a lot of like I think it's been stated that a lot of like Toonkind technology is around the like
Around that
oh
sort
I
of
want to
era of like the
era,
70s.
yeah.
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 Yeah. So as far as like you definitely have some quote unquote more modern fashions there, but also older ones. Ranging from like medieval looking to like
Yeah.
literally, 2020s, which would ostensibly, I think, in universe be like from space fashion. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Or those quote unquote time travelers because I know the professor's not the only one.
no, he's not.
You can't tell with tunes.
Mm-mm.
I think as they arrive, Crystal will hold out her hand with a um pleasure to meet you, Dr. Crystal Everlight.
Hello. Um, Jarah will step forward and shake Crystal's hand. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. I hope we're not too much trouble. Um, and after her, oh, and she introduces herself. I'm Jarah Shane Smythe, and this is Terry Mulligan. Um, and Terry Mulligan gives a nod and will also reach to shake Crystal's hand. Um, with a bit less grace than Jarah because it's like, oh, he's touching this Toon stuff. Right. Um,
Yeah.
like he,
How are they doing with Crystal, by the way?
um,
She's not the most normal looking tune either.
no, I think Jarah is, I'll roll, but there's a very good chance that she is, hiding any, curiosity that would be considered rude fairly well. Okay, okay, that's a 15, deception.
Nice. I
Um,
might roll an insight, see how well Crystal picks up.
very good.
Yep. Well,
And then Terry has a much lower charisma. That's gonna be, let's see. Oh, that is, but he rolled better. He got a 10. So yeah, not hiding it as well as possible.
well, I rolled at advantage for Crystal
Mm.
just because I feel like she would be expecting this.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Which I'm glad I did because the first one wasn't great, but the second one is good enough.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So that
absolutely. Yeah. she could like just tell that Jarah is like, you know, making an effort not to stare, and Tarry is trying, but visibly trying. Like
Yeah.
he's trying too
The
hard.
the the like catching himself kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's cute. Um yeah, no. I think there's just a little bit of a uh side eye at the professor of the really not they're really not doing that well, are they? Hey.
He's just kind of like you see a bit of like silent laughter like
Yeah. Oh, poor dears. They're just so out of their depth.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Um let's see. Um Terry goes, I heard that I was told that toon biology and such is extremely complicated. Um but uh well, I am a healer, so if there's any that you could um let us know about, that would be uh handy for, you know, at least the usual sort of first aid, patching people up. That would be helpful for me in particular.
Oh, of course. Uh, I can definitely run you through the basics of uh, toon biology. And if you're a healer, I do have, and I'm gonna roll for hammer space because she probably does have like like
Mm.
small like infographic
Mm.
because she did run those first aid courses. She made sure
Yeah,
everyone.
she probably
So
had
she
a.
probably does have a pamphlet or something of
Mm-hmm.
like some of the more technical terms,
Yeah,
but yeah. Where's my
that's
D10?
good.
That is not my D10, that's my 8. That one's. Yep, alright. Yeah, she's gonna reach into her bag and pull out that like little pamphlet info book for him.
Mm.
The I do run yearly first aid courses, or at least I go to them and make sure
Mm.
a lot of the detectives in the area go to them too.
Oh, well, that's good. That actually sounds like a pretty useful skill for a detective to have.
Yes, you would think so.
He's thinking like, I wonder if we, I wonder if we teach this back home. I can't say that I know for sure.
Hold on, I need to roll a deception because Crystal internally is like, they didn't before I turned up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jared just kind of gives him a look like they don't. They do not
Okay.
teach those back on Earth.
Uh, yeah, okay, that's actually a pretty decent deception. That's a 19.
Woo! Wow. So she doesn't snark off immediately.
She's being professional. She's
She
not gonna
is.
badmouth her friends in front of them.
Uh-huh.
Not yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think while they're looking at the
Mm.
pamphlet thing, Crystal will turn to the professor and Villestown should be fine for a demonstration. Public might be useful for pointing out examples.
Mm.
Otherwise, if they would prefer uh somewhere familiar, I should be able to. shares a few examples in here. How much have they um traveled since you arrived?
Um, the professor kind of uh, he just kind of shrugs and like gestures at Jarah, who has kind of perked up and is like, "We're not afraid to see anything new. You could show us wherever. We're plenty able to take care of ourselves, and we don't want to just stay in here the whole time."
Cool. All right, let's roll. Are you going to up the challenge then? Yeah, yeah. I think in that case she's gonna be like, um, uh, I think yeah. In that case, she might go. Well, in that case, perhaps a change of scenery might be a useful demonstration. Would you mind taking us to Toontown? I figure um the change of scenery might provide some useful context.
You see the professor just sort of like grin wickedly as he makes sure the door is shut and starts to set the ellipsis in motion. The other two seemingly none the wiser. Although Terry just sort of makes a comment like, "Well, maybe there'll be less murders here, less murders there."
Oh yes, there are quite a few less murders in Toontown. I'm gonna see how well Crystal keeps a straight face. I'm wondering whether I should go with that 19 from before or not.
Oh, up to you. It's pretty good.
Well, it doesn't matter. I rolled another 18. So
Woo!
straight face. Yes, there is less murders there. Uh, it's true. She hasn't.
It's
He hasn't
true.
specified.
Yes.
Oh god. I mean, partly it is a learning thing. She's like,
Mm,
um, they probably would have noticed. I mean, they definitely would have noticed that it's not just the people
mm,
that are Toon. The environments themselves are also Toon
mm-hmm,
like as well. And that environment shifts depending on where you're located. So
mm-hmm,
in UPA, it's very flat block color with like
mm-hmm,
some outlines, but Toontown's got a lot more of the like the watercolor painted like more detailed houses and
mm-hmm,
the also I think Two Town is a little bit of a melting pot of
mm,
many different varieties of things, so it's actually a very good place for an example of a lot of that stuff.
mm-hmm.
It's just also a lot.
Indeed, indeed, and I think they notice at least these like background details and like the fact that there's a big style change between UPA and Frankenolly, at least as far as the scenery. Uh, when they do uh, uh, land and the professor opens the door and they look out and they're like, "Oh, wow." And uh, let me think. I think, yeah, no, I think Jarah says like it's like one of those Disney pictures.
Yeah, there's just a welcome to Toontown, located in the Giznap Kingdom.
Huh. Wow, it's beautiful.
Oh yes, there is a lot of quite stunning scenery all over Inkwell. I figured that this would be perhaps a easier way to show the stark difference that you can get around the place.
It is rather different, although curiously, this feels a bit less abstract than the other place. What was that? Was it Vils? It was Vilstown.
Yes, the UPA in general tends to have a little bit more of a loose definition when it comes to scenery. It's well known for it.
Oh, I see. Well, where shall we start?
Hmm. Yeah, where are they starting? Where are you starting, Crystal? Where are you going to take them? Have you figured that out yet? I mean,
They could just go
um,
walking if you want, and she can they can talk and walk and talk.
yeah, that might just be the easiest
Mm-hmm.
thing. Just
We'll
uh,
conjure scenery details as needed.
yeah. Just so shall we? And just like gesture out the door.
Yep, yep. Um, the professor just sort of peeks out of the ellipsis, do you guys think you can handle it? Um, and Jarah's you go find something else to do. We're fine. And he just
Uh,
grins and waves.
I think a crystal will attack on the I have my plot device on me if we need to get in contact.
All right. This will, of course, uh, garner a sort of plot device from Terry. Plot device.
I'm trying to figure out I
He'll
it's like
uh,
Crystal is so straight laced, but this is one of the few times where it's like her toonish nature is trying to come out. And I'm trying to figure out whether she would be helpful or not in this situation. Let's roll another D D2. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna be helpful. Just yes, it's a form of communication that we have. That's a little bit more complicated, though perhaps we can stick to um more of the basics first.
oh, all right. Uh, hmm. That uh, private investigator Tome Fellow told us about the plot. That's a sort of religion around here.
Yes, that's uh complicated, but yes, a simple term is it is a religion.
All right.
Crystal. Oh God, how do you go about explaining the fact that it's not a religion because the plot isn't a god, but people
Mm-hmm.
believe in it like a religion because
Yeah.
some people believe that the plot is real and some people don't, and it does have an effect on people's life, and we don't really understand
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
So
I guess it doesn't have to. I guess religion doesn't have to have a god. Uh,
yeah.
I think
It's
there
just
are some where it's more like spirits or I don't know. It's more vague than that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's just also a lot of people jump to gods as
Oh, for
being
sure.
linked to religion, and she's like,
No, and he probably would
technically
too.
yes,
Yeah.
technically yes, but also no.
Yeah. No, but he seems to accept that. All right.
Yeah, we'll go with that for now.
Uh-huh.
I yeah. Do you want the professor to just say anything else, or are we shall they get going?
Nope. I think that's all he's got. He just uh He just waves at them and closes the ellipsis door. He might hang out there. He might find something else to do. Who knows?
Yeah, fun. Um, I'm really tempted to have them roll survivals.
Oh yes. Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, this makes sense given where they are. And oh, and I was rolling in the gallery, wasn't I?
Yeah, I did too, so it's okay.
Okay, what is your survival? It should be decent. Yes, it is. Okay. And then the other one, um, let's see. And then, so yeah, Jarah got a 7. And then Terry, uh, just got a nat 1.
Oh no. Okay. All right. I'm going to be kind and not roll for Crystal because she tends to roll terribly at survival, but this is like her home turf.
Yeah.
Um so but she is keeping an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think would be funny?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause uh this is Toontown, so like there are a lot of like shenanigans. I think maybe she has to rescue, like she has to pull one of them out of the way of like a falling piano or something like that.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my
So,
goodness.
um, I'm just wondering whether she would use a spell for that or not.
Mm.
Oh, she has levitate. She could catch the piano before it lands on him.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, that might be fun.
It
Uh,
it just makes a terrible sound as it's caught by levitate.
yeah, yeah. Just the uh, just with a like comment of do watch your step.
What? um, they sort of like scramble away from that, to like behind Crystal.
Yeah, actually, I think there's a moment where like Crystal catches it, makes sure he's alright, like leaves the dry comment, like then just drops the piano and then looks up and is like, real kind.
Yep. Yep.
Like whoever is like dropping it's like, be more aware of your surroundings.
Nah. They're a little startled, but otherwise, they're okay. They're just like, holy shit,
Uh, there's a bit of a moment of that, and then she'll walk back to them and are you all right?
Fine, thank you.
Good. That was, well, honestly, quite unlucky, but I suppose it does offer a fairly hands-on experience of how things can be here.
Are they dropping pianos from large heights often?
More than you would expect, less than you now might expect.
Hmm. Is it is it because it's funny? I mean, it didn't feel funny, but it just feels like, I don't know. That's probably nothing.
No, you are on sort of the right track. Guess we're starting with toon biology. Sorry, that's my bad. Guess we're starting with toon physics. Um, Toons are created from a mix of. Uh, sorry, now I need to think. I did have this like in my head, and now I've forgotten it.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
like inspiration and material, and then there's like the pillars of animation.
yeah, yeah. Um, Toons are made from inspiration, magic, and ink, in simplified terms. So the our bodies are both physical and less physical than most real kind. As a result, physics applies differently. It does apply, but not in the same way. There are different rules that Toons generally follow, one being the rule of funny,
Hmm.
which mm, that was a particularly poor example of.
Hmm. Yeah, they sort of like look back at where it was and they're like, well, if we didn't find it funny, maybe somebody else did.
Yeah, yeah. She's willing to explain more about it. She's just waiting a little bit
Hmm.
for if they have any questions, if they're having trouble processing that, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm,
As I
mm-hmm.
think she's sort of maybe also ushering them along,
Yeah. So,
maybe to a like a slightly less chaotic street.
sure, something with less construction and moving going on, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe around the teleportation station is
Hmm.
particularly bad.
It's probably real busy there, yeah.
Yeah, but as soon as you get out a little bit further, I
Hmm.
think that it depends on the area.
Yeah, yeah. I think Terry will ask, so, this sort of uh, exclusion from physics, is it, well, they tell me that magic adheres to physics, but it doesn't seem to adhere to the physics that I was taught. So is it sort of like that? It's like how magic doesn't quite seem to gel with traditional physics, material physics.
That's definitely a good starting point. I think Crystal's actually impressed with the grasp of that. Like,
Mm,
yeah, actually, it is like basically it's magic has its own rules that then
mm,
apply on top of regular physics.
mm-hmm,
Many of the laws of physics do apply. There are just other rules that cause exceptions.
mm,
The rule of funny, the rule of cool, the rule of convenience and inconvenience are some of the bigger ones.
mm,
The rule of funny dictates that if something could be seen as funny, the consequences can change. This means that physical damage can oftentimes be reduced by a toon since it would be funny for that to occur. Of course, that does then mean that the level of physical harm expectation is a little warped, particularly for certain subraces.
hmm. Terry's gonna start asking like sub races, and Jarah is like interrupts with like, so it's like slapstick. Like if it wasn't all pretend and light hits, then everybody would be terribly injured. But since it is, then it's all right and it's funny.
Yes, that's right. It only works to a certain extent. Toons can still be injured, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, it varies from person to person and subraces and genre and the like. But most toons have the ability to mitigate it to some degree.
That sounds very useful.
Yes, quite. It is very useful, particularly given the other uh, aspects of Inkwellian life.
Well, if there's going to be pianos falling, you might as well be resilient.
Yes, exactly. This is a little bit of a deadpan. Um,
Uh huh.
Crystal's not particularly impressed with the Toons who like dropping things on other people either.
Uh-huh. No, I don't think she would be.
She's yeah, she ends up being the straight man a lot of the time, so she's learned to look out for a lot of those sort of things.
Mhm. You said there were sub races? Is that like is that the elves and the dwarves have those?
Yes, very similar. It's a little bit again, a lot of things with Toons are complicated, though I suppose that is true for a lot of things. There are generally a few different subclasses that can be broken down, and then potentially other terms used that you might get thrown around, which are not subraces but are descriptors of people. Regardless, it she's just rolling her hand like, right, I'm rambling a little bit. um, like, yeah, I think that she takes a moment to like straighten out her thoughts, and then there are 5 major categories of subraces. There are Frankenali, Worn, Rubberhose, UPAN, and Hossen. There are also regions that Toons can take from. Giblian, Upaean, and Gisnepian are the most common. And then there are other physical descriptors, such as cell shaded and CGIan, that are probably the most common you'll hear.
Jarah has gotten a notebook out of her messenger bag and is scribbling furiously.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think she is pausing for, like, you can ask questions at this point, or I can just keep elaborating.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, if they, like, feel free to break in at any point, but,
Yeah, yeah.
I can just keep going.
You're good. Terry, I think so. So they're all made of, um, as you said, magic, ink, and inspiration.
Sort of. Yes, for the most part, Horsens are a little bit different in that they are not made of ink, but rather other materials, but they are a little bit of an exception. But yes, all Toons are fundamentally made of magic, particularly magic from the Well of Inspiration.
The well of inspiration. So you get the ink and the inspiration in one go.
Yes.
Uh, is that a location? He sort of like looks
uh,
around like he could see it.
Yeah. Crystal got caught up in the no, you're keeping with basic explanations. Don't go into the technicalities of
Ah.
the fact that, yes, it is a physical location with magic that comes from, and like it is actually got ink that comes out of it and it runs under the continent. But no, we don't really know how the ink gets from those like channels to the people, and that doesn't preclude like proximity is a thing, but you can have tombs form on other continents.
Yeah.
So like the ink is like physically there, but we don't quite know how it moves. And
Yeah.
she's like, "Don't go into that." So she's a little bit stuck there for a moment before catching up with his question and just yes, the Well of Inspiration is located to the north of the continent,
Oh, all right.
though its magic does run underground throughout the continent in general.
Huh. That's very curious. Is
Yes,
this?
I've not. heard of anything else quite like it.
Hmm. No, the only thing I could think of is uh, this old oceanography was telling me about continental drift. This new theory. Well, no, not new theory, but they figured out how it moves, and apparently the continents skate around on top of this gooey lava or something. And you can tell he's only got it like half right.
Oh, yeah. Oh God. Crystal is holding herself back from. No, that's not actually correct at all.
Uh-huh.
How do I say that tactfully?
God, the funny thing is,
Uh,
and I only know this because I took a class, is that they actually really only figured out, like, how the continents formed, and, like, the fact that they move around on top of, well, the asthenosphere, but is,
hmm.
like, they only figured it out in, like, 1960 or 70, I think it
Oh
was.
wow.
Yeah! My teacher was like, when I grew up, we straight up didn't know the answer.
That's so wild.
I know.
And it's always weird when you realize when certain things were discovered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, um, uh, God, she doesn't want to lie, but she's also just like, I think I've got, that, um, it's not really important. I can maybe help you find some, books on it later if you'd like.
All right. He's cool
It's
to leave it at that.
it's paining her to say that, like,
Uh-huh.
not corrective. She's like, no, no, these are friends of the professor. You can't call them an idiot.
I'm curious if Terry, I'm sure won't, but I'm curious if Jarah can pick up on her. Can you roll like a deception for her
Yeah,
sort
I
of
just
like
did.
her thought
Yeah.
of like, no, you're stupid. Let's see, Jarah, what is your insight? Okay,
Well, she needs to beat a 12.
she got a 27.
Oh my god. It's very obvious. Like, she's just like clearly holding herself back from going on a very long tangent about how very wrong that is.
Uh huh. Um, she, I think she just sort of like grins to herself and, uh, probably just like steps, like a pace closer, so that Terry is just like, a step behind them, and is like, he really does think he is, a lot smarter than he actually is.
Right, I've met the sort before. Um, he at least seemed to have a basic grasp of the more biological aspects.
Well, that would make sense. He is a, medical officer.
Ah, yes, that's. Huh. Um,
Geology is probably, well, as you can tell, is not his, proficiency.
no. Well, it's not really my area of expertise either, but. She's holding herself back again from, I am smarter than your, like, I am quite smarter than your average person.
Uh huh. They'll figure it out. They'll find out.
God, yeah, yeah, like, she is, yeah, she is bragging. But again, like, she does have a 20 intelligence, so
Woohoo!
she's also not lying.
No. No, that's certainly more than certainly as I look at their sheets more than they have.
Also, like, she had the benefit of growing up with a lot of this knowledge, so.
Oh, of course. But yeah, no, Jarah's just sort of like, don't worry, I get it. He is a bit of a dummy. It's okay.
I think she might make a little bit of a face of the, like, no, people don't like it when you brag about how smart you are. And then, like, just, Jarrah can definitely read that, the, um, as she, goes, right, I never did ask, what about you? Do you have a specialty?
Oh, I'm an investigative journalist.
Ah, you'll fit in quite nicely with a lot of the others here.
Good. Good. The detectives, they do seem very interesting. I am curious about their work.
Ha! There's a there's a little bit of a, like, again, I'm gonna roll off of that, like, 27. There is a little bit of that ha, good luck kind of expression, but she doesn't say anything. The Oh yes, I'm sure that they would appreciate, I'm sure they wouldn't mind the company.
Hmm. She's got a kind of like smirk on her face, like, and even if they don't, too bad.
Yeah, yeah. There's a little bit, the she can definitely read from Crystal, because Crystal's does not have much of a poker face.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely the oh yeah, you will certainly fit right in, and the oh my poor sweet summer child, good luck with them.
Oh, good. she just sees it as a challenge.
Fair enough. Crystal likes that. She's liking Jarrah so far. She's liking both of them so far.
Nice. Oh boy. Hmm. So the different sub races. Let's see. You said one of them is sort of made of different things. And the other ones, well, I suppose they look different. Do they live in different places? Um,
Right. Um, let's start with the mm, non-Hossen races first. You have Frankenali, which is probably the easiest to understand. They are most th- the most similar to other races. They follow the most physical rules and have less of the physics-defying uh, pr properties that other tunes have, though they do still tend to break some of them. And all of these are a little bit fast and loose. But they will be the ones that look the most like their real kind counterparts, just in ink form.
hmm.
Next, you have Worn, which where things the physics starts to break down a little bit. Uh, Generally, you will have more abnormal proportions in this subrace, and they're a little bit more prone to breaking of physics. But that is more of a active uh, a an active rather than a passive thing. The kind gentleman who tried to drop a piano on you is a good example of a worn. Um,
Hmm.
then you have rubber hose. This is where the biological, physical nature really begins to break down. Uh, Rubber hose don't Warren and Frankenali generally follow a lot of the same anatomical structure as many of the real kind, but rubber hose do not. In particular, they do not have a skeletal structure, thus allowing them to passively break physics much more often. You will often be able to recognize them from many of them have black and white or silent tunes, but that is not a requirement for being rubber hose.
Oh, curious. No, no bones.
How are they taking that?
Yeah, Terry's just like thoughtful, like, are they like cephalopods?
Yeah, yeah, that's not a bad guess.
Jarah's kind of like making a face, like thinking about a boneless person, but also she's seen some stuff, so it's not too difficult for her to imagine. It's just a little unsettling, is all.
Yeah, yeah. Rubber hose can be a little unsettling. Like they all got a little bit of uncanniness to
Mm.
them. Rubber hose definitely, I think, in the way that they move,
Mm-hmm.
but they also look like very different, so like that helps with the uncanniness of it.
Yeah, yeah. If it looked too familiar, it would be too spooky.
Yeah, yeah. And then like Warner a little bit more uncanny because all of a sudden they'll just pull off like something like you'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, I've got this, and then all of a sudden they'll do something completely like random, like have their eyeballs like bulge out of their head, like
Mm-hmm.
literally, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Good old Warren.
And then and then Frank and Allie fall a little bit into more of that uncanny, like they look more normal, but they're not.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Anyway, um, and she'll continue. Next up, you have UPN, which is most distinct for their flat designs. I'm actually an example of this, though not fully UPN. My design is a little bit more complicated, but two-dimensional is very much the UPN style with very definitive color and block color and outlines.
Hmm. UPA's that place we were last. That's why all the
Yes.
scenery kind of looked like that.
Yes, exactly. It follows very much the style of the UPN race.
Oh, okay.
And then you have your Hossen tunes, who are materially different. They have more, they still are made from ink and inspiration, but they have more texture to them. Clay, yellow block, photographic, very much more common with them. But I have heard and seen of some fairly bizarre materials that Hossen can be made out of.
Hmm. I'm gonna see if either of them can connect dots to something that they have experienced, mostly
Oh.
on the television. uh, let's see. They both have. Uh, okay, no, yours is different. Okay, so you got. Jarah gets a 9, so she doesn't get it. But Terry got an 18. So it
Ooh,
does
nice.
it does occur to him, after a moment of thought, his brows sort of furrow, um, and he sort of to both Jarah and Crystal is like, stop motion, like the he's sort of like taps Tara, Jarah on the shoulder, like the Christmas uh program with the little guys that move around, but they're not. It's regular film. It's not. And and she kind of looks at him and's like, I don't know. Um, he kind of looks at Crystal and is like, is it like stop motion?
I don't know if Crystal knows what stop motion is. I'm trying to figure
That's.
out like how
Mm,
much like Toons actually know about like animation from
yeah.
like the
Now,
way that we know them.
yeah. So, somebody like the engineer would probably know, just because, like, animation does seem to exist in the world. But, like, he's a movie guy.
Yeah,
Crystal
yeah,
isn't. She would probably focus on the, like, real life side of Toons.
yeah. I think there's a. I'm not sure that might be. I'm unfamiliar with that term, sorry.
Hmm. Well, maybe I'll ask the professor. I think he might have an idea what I'm trying to talk about.
Yes, that's not a bad idea. The professor has definitely spent more time here. He probably has more cross-cultural reference.
Right, right. I hear he's spent some time here, and he's certainly spent plenty of time on Darth.
Okay, Crystal's gonna be nosy. Um, um, Darth, is that where you're from?
Yes, we're both from Darth.
I see. I was told it was a fair distance away.
Yeah, a very, very, very far distance. We hadn't even heard of this place.
Yes, likewise. This is the. I'm not sure if she's heard. Yeah, actually, uh, this is the first I've heard of it outside of the professor.
I'm not surprised. Oh, he has mentioned it then.
Don't remember if he's mentioned it.
Oh, probably in passing. He probably didn't say
Yeah,
much about it, is the thing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Um, yeah, in passing.
hmm. Hmm.
So, is the professor from there too, or did you, um,
No, no. No, he's from, well, rather farther somewhere else. Um, I he sort of like Terry sort of looks up at the sky like I am not even sure where to begin telling you what direction.
yeah, yeah. Um, Crystal's just nodding along. Okay. Fair enough. Um, she's done her digging. She's got a few more data points to add to her internal collection.
Mm-hmm. I think
She should she
Jarrus.
should just ask him.
Yeah, yeah. I think uh Jarrah looks like she might say something but isn't sure, so she's uh not, at least not without being prompted.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll see if she's even figured that out. Okay, that's a 17.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, it looks like Jarrah might be willing to say something, um, but also might not. Uh,
All right, what would you say to prompt this? Uh, um, God, I have no idea how she would prompt it without like coming out directly.
She could just give her like a look or something.
Yeah, yeah, uh just a bit of a side eye. Like she is pretty easy to read, so she has clocked that Jarah has something to say. And
Mm-hmm.
just maybe like a tilt of the head, like you're
Mm-hmm.
welcome to speak up if you want.
Mm-hmm. She sort of like fiddles with her hair and says, "Well, the professor said we can trust you. We're not um, we're not from this planet."
Ah, oh, that's good to know. I can cross interdimensional travel off my list.
Hey, Terry's like, "Huh?"
It's just like, the look, I figured you were. If you are from this continent, you're not from anywhere very, like, if you are from this planet, you aren't from anywhere very close by. And it's hardly would be the first time someone has come from much further away. I was more having trouble narrowing down which particular direction of farness you were from.
Oh goodness, how does he? Oh, of course he would be of course he would. Of course he would find people from strange places.
Yes, well, Inkwell tends to have a habit of collecting an eclectic bunch, the plot and all of that.
Hmm. Terry sort of looks like thoughtful at that, like he's trying to, like, okay, somebody has used the word again. I'm entering this into my like dictionary of like how the word is used and what the hell it means. Um, and Jarah is just nodding, like, yeah, he fits in.
um, did Tarry want to roll an insight on Crystal
Mm-hmm.
for her use of the word the plot there?
Sure. Um, okay, that is what am I rolling again? You said.
Insight.
Oh, okay. Then that is. Let's see. That's a 23.
Oh, nice. Um, she is partially using that word unironically and
Mm.
partially ironically, and she's not particularly impressed by it.
Mm. In his mind, he's sort of thinking like, okay, so maybe she like, maybe it's a it seems like a prevalent religion. Maybe she grew up in the culture but isn't practicing. Like,
Maybe she's not religious.
exactly.
Well, I mean that's pretty true. I mean, it is funny. She did grow up with like she did grow up with a religion and
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't really practice it that much, but she's not actually that um more just because she's not that attached to it more than any like particular
Hmm.
falling out with it. But there are definitely
Yeah.
gods out there that she's like, I don't like you.
Uh huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny though. It's a yes and no.
There's gonna be a lot of that from him, I think.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love him already.
yay. um, let's see. What were we talking about? Let's see. Where did we get to Darth? Uh,
Yeah, the where is the professor from? Outer space. That answers that.
mm, mm-hmm. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of the where on the how to pick up the conversation from where we left off. My brain is lost
Oh,
the thread.
that's okay. Perhaps, Crystal can take the lead there, like just gesture them on again with a um well, that certainly explains why this must be a fair culture shock for you then.
Oh, you could say that again.
Um,
Jarah just kind
she's
of
also
shrugs, but does nod, like, yeah.
she's also keeping to herself the toon aliens that do exist.
Uh huh.
I mean, there are penguins who are from the moon, so sure, it
Right.
is fairly common knowledge that aliens exist.
Yeah, 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 that's true. Um, After Jarah sort of like shrugs, she says, "This is very new. Um, Although we do perhaps um, have a bit of an advantage over most people on Darth, since we sort of officially, well, and unofficially, deal with the sort of odder happenings on Darth. Um, and Terry just sort of like nods emphatically, like, yes, I'm part of an organization that, in fact, investigates paranormal or extraterrestrial happenings to keep our planet safe.
Ah, I see. No wonder you know the professor then.
Indeed, he he is our he's been our brain work scientific advisor for a long time.
Yes, I can see that. He does have extensive knowledge on a fair few topics.
Oh, no kidding.
I'm not actually sure if Crystal has seen the professor's library.
um, Dang, I don't know.
I don't think she's seen it in person, but she has had heard it referenced, I
Yes,
think.
it has been referenced in the chat. Um,
Mm.
that it's been talked about a few times.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I don't think she's been there yet at
Mm,
all. That's kind of funny.
yeah, I don't think so. Certainly not on screen, and not that I can think of.
Oh no, I've lost my train of thought. How long have you known the professor for?
Oh well, I've only known him a little over a year now, and I've known him for a few years.
Hmm.
Actually, I knew him when he looked very different. She sort of like tilts her head, uh, suggesting like, that
Yeah,
means more
yeah,
than it should mean.
yeah. I'm not gonna hide. There is the kind of realization from Crystal. Like she knows what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is also a little bit of a frown at that. Like, that's concerning. But
It is.
um, yeah. Um,
Terry just sort of frowns, like, and I just missed it.
perhaps not the worst thing. if I, from what I know.
Well, I was supposed to help him, but he got up before I could, and by the time I got to him, he'd already. He sort of waves a hand in the air. Changed.
I see. Yes, I have gotten a rundown from uh, him about that, just in case anything were to happen. Um,
Hmm.
uh, if hmm, were this might be indelicate, but um, were you around when it occurred? She's directing it at Jarah.
She kind of like presses her lips together and nods. Kind of has a complex look on her face. She's like, "Yep, I was right beside him when it happened."
Hmm. If it's not too much trouble, do you think at some point I could get a an account from you? It would be helpful for cross-referencing should anything occur.
Mm-hmm. She hesitates and glances at Terry, and he just sort of like shrugs and nods, and says something to her, to the effect of like, he said she was told just about everything there was, about as much as we know about him, uh, medically. So, with that sort of reassurance, Jarah does nod. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, I think at that, there is a little you're always welcome to ask the professor first. I could understand if you don't want to provide any more information to someone you don't know than necessary. Um, I my field of research is in magical ailments, but I've been moving towards a more medical, broader medical base, given the particular proneness of the accident prone nature of many of the people that I interact with.
Hmm. Well, yes, I suppose I can see accidents being a regular happenstance, and magical ones especially, given you're partially made of it.
Oh, yes, magic does more than just, well, Toons are naturally magic, uh, filled with magic, but the environment itself is also very magical. The likelihood of plot adventures, mm, deities of many varieties, other extraterrestrial, interplanar life.
Hmm.
There's a fair amount of it here.
Oh, goodness, that sounds. That does sound rather complicated. Very interesting, though. Terry, meanwhile, has, like, since you mentioned, like, magical ailments, he's kind of just been, like, eyes sparkling. Do you know very much about breaking curses then?
Ah, Um, it's an area of my study. Uh, I know a lot of the technical aspects of it, the identification of a curse versus a different ailment, or magical influence, that sort of thing, how to work around a lot of it. But uh, my knowledge of how to break curses only goes as far as, well, how do I put this? Uh, there is always more to be learned about breaking curses.
Mm. He looks thoughtful. Um, uh, Slightly like he kind of like looked like enthused about like how much he knew about curses, and then like slightly disappointed that um you seem to downplay how much you know about breaking curses.
Look, I think, Crystal's not really the sort to downplay her knowledge very
Mm-hmm.
often, but breaking curses, like if someone asks you, how much do you know about curses, you know that the next question that they're going to ask is, can you break a curse for me, kind of thing is often the case. And
Ah.
so, like, she's trying to set things up like I do not know if I can break curses because curses are complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like she does know remove curse.
Right. Right.
Um, and she does have a lot of expertise for being able to identify if something is a curse, the nature of it, all of that sort of stuff is she's very well versed in.
Mm-hmm.
She can help someone figure out how it triggers, where it came from, how to work around it, sometimes how to like break it, but oftentimes those are complicated or not don't have a solution, so she
Mm-hmm.
can't just say yes, I know how to break curses.
That's a good point. Although that actually is good information for me because Terry can ask like as he's thinking like, okay, so breaking them not as much. What about at least um uh what about diagnosing them?
Diagnosing is much more. I have much more skill in. Uh, I am more well versed in Toon curses, but
Mm.
I have studied a fair amount of reelkind curses, um,
Uh,
due to overlap.
hmm. Um, he sort of like thinks, sort of hesitates a moment. Uh, is there any chance you could um maybe give me some pointers sometime? Uh, at least, well, well, I guess if I'm here, I should probably know some of the Toon curses, but also in general. Um, I can't say that uh, Darth is quite as magically advanced as this place appears to be. Um, and we do rather get in trouble rather frequently. It would be good to know.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I can help you out with that. She's like sorting through her brain, like, same plane, so that means that the magic is probably similar, at least in the core structure, so that should work. Like,
Mm-hmm,
this is muttered like slightly out loud, like
mm-hmm.
as she's like working it through in her brain, like hmm, where do I start with the like breaking that down, kind of thing. I'm thinking of like that meme where it's like the two geologists talking, and it's like we got to dumb it down this for people. Only a handful will like, so keep it to like, most people only know like feldspars
Uh-huh.
and quartzes, of course, and it's
Of
like,
course.
yeah, kind of feeling with Crystal like the, where do I even start with that?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Um, Jared kind of sees the like head math going on, and is like, what's some of the, I don't know, do you know any spells? Like the names of them? Don't know if you've got, if the two of you have any in common. I don't personally cast.
Oh, I you know what? That's not a bad place to start, and I'm gonna roll another hammer space. I'm kind of tempted to like I think it would be really funny if she fumbled this because like of the oh I I did roll a one. That's great. Oh cool. This will be fun. So let's see what book she pulls out instead. 10. Yeah, rummages around in her bag for a little bit, and then she pulls out a book that's called Thomas's Guide to Inkwell Deities Old and New. And she's like, "That's not it." Puts it back in. Um, nope, that's not high enough. Uh, oh, that's not a book. That's like the one, like one of the few things that's not a book. She then pulls out a badge with wings that says Rescue Ranger made of stained glass and puts that
Aww.
back in.
Aww.
Nope, that won't work. A large binder full of research notes comes out next. Oh my, okay, cool, finally. Uh, and then finally she pulls out her spell book.
They've been sort of muttering like, is that just a bag of holding or is it that hammer space they mentioned? I don't know. It is a bag. Like,
Yeah, this actually, has she overheard them? I'm gonna
oh, probably.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um no, this is my hammer space. I just find that bags are a little bit more organized for it. I can and she's just gonna like reach behind her back and yeah, let's just roll see what she pulls out because she's not looking for something in particular. Cool. Um it's another book, unsurprisingly.
Terry sort of
The his
jumps at the appearance of it, and Jarah laughs at him.
Yeah, the history of Eversure.
Ooh.
She just sort of like wiggles it and puts it back behind her back. I just find the bag feels more organized and is less jarring.
Uh, I'll say. Oh, goodness. Uh, you were grabbing something from Hammerspace?
Yeah, yeah. She grabbed out her spell book,
Mm-hmm.
which she will pass over to Terry
Mm.
if he wants to look.
Yeah, yeah. He will flip through. Um, uh, he he kind of looks like puzzled at a few of the names, but others like there's like eyes widen in recognition and nods like, okay, some of these look familiar. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of like utility
Mm-hmm.
and abjuration magic spells in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he. Let's see, abjuration and what was the other one you said?
I just said like utility,
Oh
like
yeah.
more just general utility spells.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he. Uh. Yeah, he knows. Yeah, I think it's the abjuration ones that he's more than the others.
Mm.
He's recognizing those. Like, oh, okay, yes, these. I recognize these.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. Okay, well, we use at least some of the same language for our spells, so they're probably not too terribly different.
That's good to know.
He kind of like thinks like uh hmm I suppose I could demonstrate something. It's just that most of my spells are uh rather reserved for serious situations.
Hmm.
um he just kind of shrugs.
You don't have anything lower level,
uh
and I think she's gonna cast uh yeah, let's roll a d4. Which one are you gonna pick? Yeah, prestidigitation, just like a little bit of
mm-hmm.
the sparkles like just kind of like up in her hand, and the like, kind
Mm-hmm.
of magic kind of
Yeah,
thing.
we um uh yeah, he does kind of grin at that, like, well, I know of that spell, but I'm afraid I can't cast it. Let's see. See, the thing is, most of mine are either about healing or um fighting. But let's see.
Ah,
Uh, um, he just kind of like thinks of his lower level spells, and he does sort of like he does pat Jarah on the head and give her guidance, which I think let's see, probably manifests as like a really just visible sort of brief glow. It's kind of understated as far as magic goes.
yeah, yeah. I think perhaps I did have a thought, so I think that it maybe would have caught it in time. Is that she cast Crystal cast detect magic,
Mm.
so that she could sort of like have a bit of a better look at it as he
Oh yeah,
cast.
yeah, yeah. No, detect magic. Definitely. Um, definitely a divination cantrip. Um,
Mm.
and it's sort of like it like lasts. There's sort of like a even though the initial sort of flash of it is gone, the like residue of it like sort of stays on Jarah for
Yeah.
a decent while. It says up to a minute until it goes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it looks like a simple small spell.
Hmm. Yeah, I think she's just gonna nod, and I don't know if it would have been weird. I don't. They seem to be aware of magic, but like as she casts detect magic, like her eyes do begin glowing, which might look a little weird with the stained glass design.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I
Um,
think they look at it,
yeah,
but they're not too weirded out.
yeah, yeah. Definitely not the weirdest thing around.
Right, right. And they are talking about magic, so they expect some
Yeah,
odd things.
yeah. But just the yeah, look and the nod and the no, that does seem to be pretty similar, at least base components.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, that's good. Won't have to deal with complete incompatibility. Jesus. Complete incompatibility. Um, I don't. Uh, Gosh, I suppose I would have to prepare different spells if that was the case. My healing spells wouldn't be very much use here.
Yes, there was someone I knew recently who had to learn an entirely different magic-based system than from where he was from. So
Oh
it's
dear.
good to at least rule that out.
Absolutely. Oh, it was trouble enough to learn this much. That sounds like a pain and a half.
Is magic not very common where you're from then?
Uh, Not especially. It's a little more common in our organization than it is out. of it, just because we are sort of a collection of specialists. Um, but the average person, oh, I don't know. In a town, you might have one magic user. In a city, you'll probably have a dozen, 2 dozen, maybe. A city's got, you might have um, uh, you might have a union of sorts.
Hmm. I see. That does sound very different to things here.
Hmm. There are some people who, I suppose there's a few scattered people who only really have they may have an affinity for magic and can cast something very low level, but don't, don't get the training or the chance to study to um, realize their magical potential. So that there
Right.
may yet be a few more people who could very well become magic users, but aren't really capable of uh, much besides.
Harnessing their latent power.
Exactly. It's I guess it was sort of more prevalent in our ancient history than it is today.
Ah, I see.
There's a lot more magic use in our myths and stories and such than seems to be practiced now.
That's interesting. Hmm. Perhaps hmm, to lose magic on that level of scale, I'm surprised that there is no record of it, but I suppose that would not be the first time something of the like has happened.
Mm.
Still, it definitely provides a lot more context for how new all of this must seem.
Yeah, um, not 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 nearly as much magic uh, there. So when it does sort of show up as a problem, well, it's very good that Turek has its magical uh, users, but the general population doesn't really know what to do um, about it.
Yeah. There's a small snort of the like, you say that like even when the general public does know about magic, they know what to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah, just a little bit of a raised eyebrow is the well, some things don't change.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Is it true that there are dragons here, alive? That is.
Oh yes, several sort.
Oh my. Um, we used to have the old beasts, but they uh, it seems they went extinct long before our time.
Word of advice, I probably wouldn't call a dragon a beast to their face.
Mm. He sort of like thinks about it and then nods, like, okay, that that's fair actually.
They are extremely prideful
Mm.
as a race,
Yes, Terry,
whether
and
they
if
be Toon or not.
yes, Terry, and if you'd actually paid attention to the legends, you would know that.
Uh, this is just a like. Well, I didn't want to like, I don't know what your sort of history is, but I just don't want you to, like, be burned to a crisp
Yeah.
if you meet one here and say, ah, we don't have those beasts back home.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's not gonna fly. Well, don't worry if he tries to stick his foot in his mouth. I'm usually around to keep him from making too much of a fool of himself. And he just sort of like makes a face at her.
That's good. Probably worth noting, uh, trouble tends to follow people in Inkwell, so just try to be mindful, or you will get roped into something you do not want to be.
Terry goes like, "Oh goodness." Jared just grins. Why do you think I hang out with the professor?
Yeah, there's the um uh
Oh no, you're like that.
uh I'm just trying to there's a little bit of a like she's given Crystal a prime opportunity to insult the professor, and now I gotta figure out what she would say. Yeah, okay. The you mean you actually like his trouble-prone nosiness?
Sometimes. Most of the time. Terry just kind of rolls his eyes like, it would be nice if he would stick his nose in less dangerous situations.
Yes, good to know that he still has some things don't change. He still has the habit of doing putting his nose in places he doesn't belong here too.
Indeed. Well, I dare say this place seems to have treated him a bit better than some of his some of his other adventures have. Um, he looks to be in good shape here. I'm glad of that. I understand that's in some part thanks to you.
Oh, that definitely makes Crystal aback. Like the have I like I mean I try to keep all of these idiots from dying.
Uh huh.
So um well I'm honestly just been doing my best, and he's done just as much, if not more, for all of us, myself included. Um, for as much as he can be a sorry, I'm just trying to find the right words here. Like the a pompous nosy uh uh a reckless pompous know-it-all. It does have its uses from time to time.
He does that. Well, I'm glad he's found someone he's been able to trust uh, medically here. Um, didn't seem to have much luck with that on Darth until I came around. Jarah sort of like nudges his foot with hers, like, "You're bragging." He's like, "No, I'm not. It's true."
Yeah, there's another nod and the I do my best. It's one of the positives of Toonkind is that most are very prone to look out for their own. And their own is a very loose definition. Ah, that's probably something to look out for. Uh, Found family and adoption is a very big thing here. If you're not careful, you might accidentally find yourself adopted into a family, so do be careful if that's not something you have on your bucket list.
Goodness, us too. Do you think so? He did mention something about that. Um, Goodness, I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yes, you too. Age does not exclude you, nor does competence.
Well, this certainly will be interesting. But I'm very excited to get to learn about this place, and the people here.
Well, as long as you have that sort of attitude, I'm sure you'll get along just fine. Just try not to think too hard about too many things. And if you have any questions, I have made it my job to know a fair amount.
Jarah like briefly makes like a pouty face, like, "Don't tell me not to think too hard." Like, um, uh, but but smiles and nods.
This is coming from a place of like Crystal knows what it's like to think too hard about things and has had to learn as a toon
Mm-hmm.
that there is always like an exception to rules and that if you try and break it down, you will probably just end up getting frustrated.
Yeah, Jarah is just unfortunately used to being like underestimated rather severely.
Yeah, yeah.
So she takes everything as a
I
challenge.
Fair enough. I think there might be a little bit of a well, you're gonna have to learn that the hard way.
Yeah, yeah. uh,
Yeah, her and Crystal seem very similar.
yeah. But yeah, no, they'll absolutely they'll like thank Crystal for this introduction to the ways of the world here.
Mm. I think that Crystal would have taken them to maybe a couple of like the um uh maybe not like the busy tourist places, but
Mm.
like a few of the things to get a bit of a feel for it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think she might have taken them to a theater,
Mm.
and to like a park somewhere
Mm.
or and then like to go get food or something like that just so that they can get a bit of
Mm-hmm.
a feel for the place.
That's
And
nice.
then shuffle them back to the ellipsis.
Uh huh. Uh huh. I think as they're coming up on it, the professor will like peek his head out the door. Hello. How was your day?
Well, they managed to not get smushed by any pianos, so I think it went well enough.
Good. Um, Jera, I think, like trots up to the professor and starts like gushing about like the different things they saw. Um,
Oh.
and Tarry is just sort of like um, says something about it being like very pleasant, and Dr. Everlight was a fantastic help. But otherwise, he seems like he's still semi processing everything. Like it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah,
he's
yeah. I
he's not as overwhelmed as the first day, but there is a lot to think about.
Yeah, yeah. I think they would have had like plenty of friendly interactions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like Toons are very welcoming people,
Yeah.
especially with the yeah, these are out of town friends. They're a little bit overwhelmed kind of like
Mm-hmm.
feeling probably would have gotten across.
Yeah.
Um
Like
and I think yeah.
at the very most, they might have like a little joke at their expense, but like a funny one, you know?
Yeah, yeah, like that sort of thing. Like the get roped into like going up on stage at like a performance
Yeah.
kind of thing and so tell me where you're from.
Yeah.
Kind of like yeah, kind of thing.
Aw.
And I think Crystal maybe would have like lent um Tarry a few of her like medical books
Mm.
for reference for things. Hold on, let's see what I have that might be useful for him.
Mm-hmm. She also had given the professor a copy of her works, so he can
Yes.
find that as well.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, she can hand him over. She's got on her list that these might be a few
Mm.
useful ones. One is Magical Theory 101. Um, Another is Curse Breaking and Code Cracking: A Guide for Dungeoneering. Um, mm, Maybe Toonkind Ailments and Diseases.
Mm-hmm. It might be
Uh,
a little advanced for him, but like he can, get a read through of it so that he at least has an idea of things that exist.
yeah, yeah. And probably also in there is a book on like geology
Nah.
and like tectonic plates.
Oh,
I
great.
think that's not part of her collection, but she went out of her way at one point to find it so that she could give it to him. Like, please make yourself more knowledgeable.
Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, that's wonderful. Ah.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah. Oh, that was delightful. Thank you so much for doing that with me.
No problem. I had fun.
Me too.
It's always fun when I get to explore a little bit about like the toon biology. They didn't even touch on some of the weirder parts, like where
Mm-hmm.
toons come from. Like,
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, there's so much. You can only
yeah,
tackle
yeah,
so
or the
much at a
Pillars of
time.
Inkwell,
Mm-hmm.
or like the plot and how that works, and genre savviness, and
Yep, yep.
I'm sure she would have like mentioned a few of them in passing and explained
Mm-hmm.
further if they'd asked. But yeah,
Yeah. Uh, all right. Well, that is going to do it for us for this FPS. Thank you
yep.
so much for playing me with me. It was lovely.
Thank you for having me, especially on such short notice.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah.
So thank you, future listeners. We will see you next time, and we will bid you all a good time zone. Bye.
Bye.